Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic-Con podcast. This is episode 16. I'm Zach, aka the Manimal. With me, as always, is Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. What's up, man?
What's going on, Zach? It's a nice day. We are recording this on April 22nd, 2021. Got loads to talk about, tons of stuff in the casting, trailer reactions, and so much more, man. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, as everyone knows, I'm assuming most of you are probably not new listeners at this point, but we always start off with our community section where we either cover stuff, the questions from the community that we've received either from the Comic-Con podcast Gmail account or our Instagram account, the Comic-Con podcast, where people send in any kind of questions or topics they'd like us to talk about, maybe some voice memos. But this time we actually have a special guest from the comic book community. We got JB from Discoverybay Comics. What's up, JB?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's always nice to have, someone else. I mean, Justin and I are extremely familiar with each other in terms of our views on comics. And sometimes it's kind of like we may ask each other a question and it's like, yeah, I already know what his fucking answer is. But it's nice to have someone else to kind of talk to. So for those of you who don't know, JB is on YouTube he has a channel, the Discoverybay Comics. He also assists our friends from Lords of the Long Box on the Thursday shows, the Movers and Shakers, which covers like different issues on cover price that have kind of been getting hot, heating up a little bit. And
high sales.
He'll be live currently actually in like 20 minutes after this show, right? Something like that.
The top of the hour. We got about an hour.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, JB.
I'm a stay-at-home dad, kind of semi-retired. My wife is carrying the load. And I'm obsessed with comic books and action figures and statues. And I'll tell you what, man, I recently did something crazy, and I think Justin commented on one of my videos. I decided to put like $20,000 into the comic book market, and then kind of see how it performed against my stock investment. And I've been in the game now for about 2 months. I did a couple videos where you can see what books I purchased and at how much. And then, I threw it down in the spreadsheet and said, based on current last sold, and that's not always in my favor, just based on current last sold, how am I performing against my stocks?
Yeah.
And it's not even close, man. I mean,
it's crazy now.
I thought I was investing in some really solid stocks and I'm down like 3%. And in my comic book portfolio, it's up like 38%. Now, I know that the comic book market is on fire anyway, so probably anybody would be up, 25% based on anything that they bought. But I was pretty strategery when it came to this, considering that I've been in deep for the last 2 years on, what's selling and what's trending and what makes something start to trend and sell. So, you can kind of look ahead and forecast. And
really nice to kind of piggyback on JB. I commented on one of his first videos when he was at the $10,000 mark. And I was like, I was like, I got $1,000. I was like, let me invest in some books. So I bought Something is Killing the Children #1s. And, right now I'm up about 10%. I was looking at the 3 issues that I bought. So I'm happy. But you've been killing it, man. You've been getting
timing is everything.
Polls.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit on Canto 1 and a 9.8, which is a really tough book to get anyway. But I ended up like buying it literally days before this announcement. So, I picked it up for like $380 and then boom, it just blows up. It's $1,000 book. I've gotten lucky.
Are you turning around and selling those then, or are you kind of keeping them as a long-term hold?
Right now it's a time sell, When truly, guys, that's a great topic of conversation. When is the best time to sell a book, right? I honestly think it's somewhere between when the trailer of a movie drops and when the movie drops. A lot of what I'm invested in is going to be when Venom drops.
Yeah,
when Venom drops,
300s.
I've got ASM 300s, I've got ASM 361s that are earmarked to be sold in that window. Because what if the movie sucks? I think if the movie sucks, it could really affect the value of those books. And I think that window is going to be its all-time high. That somewhere between that last preview and when it actually releases, I'm looking to sell that series of books.
I actually had this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
I remember when Deadpool 2 came out and everybody was, they were buying up the, New Mutants 87 for Cable. Of course, there's the first appearance of Deadpool, but 87, everybody was buying up for Cable. And I remember that thing hit an all-time high just before launch of that movie. And then, the movie came out and it dropped, because it's a fond memory. We know that Deadpool is going to come back for a third one, but this is what it was. You just got to be at the timing. Timing is always the best thing.
But now it brings this to the conversation of the market. I tried to explain to the neighbors or originally to my wife that there's a comic book market just like there's a stock market. And that in my mind, when I'm holding the Hulk 181 slab in my hand, that is just like a stock. And I can track its sales history and what that current value is on that grade because there's people that do this. There are multiple sites out there from Cover Price to Go Collect, all of them out there that are tracking sales in CGC slabs. So as far as I'm concerned, those are commodities. That's just like a stock that you're physically holding in your hand.
And even though this is not a visual show, behind JB, he's got an ASM 300. He's got a Hulk 181. He's got a giant size X-Men #1, just to name a few books, among with tons of Funko Pops. But the wall behind him is probably, I would say like 10 grand, maybe.
Oh no, yeah. That Hulk. What grade's that Hulk?
Well, we can't see the grades, but I'm just going by. I can't even see what's the grade of the.
Just off cameras, the Ultimate Fallout 4. You got the Silver Surfer 4 next to the Silver Surfer 1. It's not so back here, man. It's not so.
I was actually. This is kind of ironic because I was talking about this. I had this conversation with my comic shop guy this week. We were talking about the comic book market and books and whatnot, and it is very interesting. And it is like stocks, and it's funny we're saying the same thing. But there's also kind of two realms. You got your modern books, like we were talking about, like you buy them, the contos. When do you flip them? When do you sell them? Because they do depreciate it sometimes. And then you have your blue chip stuff, like your Silver Age. Obviously, I'm not even going to talk about Golden Age because that's out of most people's realm. But like your X-Men ones, your Fantastic Four ones, your Hulk ones, stuff like that. It's insane. Like I looked at an X-Men 1 grade that I have, and it went from, I bought that book at 9,000, probably, let's say 2 years ago. It's listed fair market value for 25 grand
now. Now, at what point do you like, man, I'm going to have to sell this?
Never. Well, that book, that's getting buried with me.
Well, that's what you say buried. Okay. So what makes the comic book different? The comic book collector almost different from almost all these other collectors.
They won't get rid of them.
Yes. I've recently heard that, there's this huge influx of money coming from the sports card market. And they're going after 9/8 because they're comparing the 9/8 census count of CGC to the population count in cards for their PSA 10s. And the numbers are super low. So it's a great investment. I'm like, that's interesting. Okay. What about all the raw books out there that could be graded? They don't care about any of those books out there. And they said no. And I go, why? He goes, because comic book collectors don't want to sell their books. Huh?
That's true.
Because comic book collectors want to display them on their walls.
Absolutely.
They don't want to sell them. And I'm like, you're right. I told my wife originally I'm getting these books for this investment, and then I came across an opportunity to buy an Avengers 1. And I'm like, but that's your investment money is gone. I'm like, yeah, but this is now going to be personal, man. This is an Avengers 1. I want this. I want to have, please. And what's the difference between the long-term keep? Okay. So you mentioned being buried with, and I joke and people think it's morbid, but when they go, what's the end of your collection, JB? What's the end? The end is the one box filled with my favorite slabs that I am literally asking to be buried with.
Yeah.
And you know what he said? Where do you plan on being buried?
You need those monuments.
A mausoleum.
A mausoleum.
And that's it. To trade up, to eventually get those 10 books that you always wanted as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dream is, you look around, like I'm looking around my room now and I got all these long boxes, but my ideal dream is to have no long boxes and just 10 books. That's all I want. Right? I want nothing else besides 10 books. And maybe at that point, I'll go full on digital read. I won't have any single issues. I just have my 10 books that I want and I'm done, bro. Cashed out and moved on. So
yeah, we've had that conversation before, Zach.
yeah.
I'm in the same boat. I would love to just own Batman 1 to now, but at this point, I don't think it's going to happen. Even with all the other books that I have in my collection, I could sell everything off today just and keep all the Batmans. I could come close, but I just saw a Batman #1 sell for like $40,000 in a 1.0, and I'm just like, well, there goes that boat.
You're telling me that you could really go digital? I don't know if I could actually go digital.
I say that, I don't know, but I will say this: Justin and I both have been reading more digital lately. I think, right, Justin, as well.
Yeah.
I've switched over because it's a lot of reasons, dude. I mean, there was a time where I was spending on average $120 a week at the comic book store.
Ooh.
I mean, I was just buying everything new, raw, and like, it's just like, God damn, man, like it's too much at some point. And some of the stuff is garbage, like, don't get me started on all the Marvel tie-ins to their events that just go on forever, So then I really just kind of decided, okay, like, what are my mainstay titles that I want to read? I'll buy those always. The X-Men stuff, some Avenger stuff, Ghost Rider, blah, 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 whatever. DC stuff. And then a lot of the other stuff I just do, digital now. Now, it's bit me in the butt a little bit because you miss out on these. I mean, we all know what the market's been like lately.
The market, something is killing the children.
Yeah, these
Department of Truth.
Yeah,
these books that you're like, dude, I could have easily picked those up. Those are like total indie books that I totally I just passed on them. And
the only thing that makes me feel good is my shop has never been good with indie books. So I never actually have had that opportunity. Like I have to look months down the line and tell dude, like, hey, get me something that's killing the children 1 that's supposedly coming out in 6 months, if I really want it. So indies have been rough for me.
Yeah, you got to live in a good town or you're in Texas, so there's like one shop close to you.
2 or 3, yeah.
I mean, I'm in New Jersey. There's probably at least 10 shops within 30 minutes of me. So if I hit up one shop on a Wednesday, let's just say, and I don't find the one book I'm looking for, 5 minutes down the road, there's another shop and I'm right there.
I want to swing real quick back to this digital thing. Cause I've read a couple of books digitally. I think I've had 1 or 2 good experiences, and mostly I don't enjoy it as much. Now I will tell you, I want to talk about the one that I did enjoy, and tell me if you guys have ever read The Craven's Last Hunt.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Long time ago.
I read that digitally, and I did it on an iPad, and I didn't understand that it was the first time I'd ever read a book digitally. So I didn't know that you could see the whole page. So I read literally the entire thing panel to panel. Where
there's the different ways.
You can't cheat. You can only see the next panel. You have no idea. And especially since you've never read it before, go ahead and think about Craven's Last Hunt panel to panel without being able to cheat ahead. That was wicked. It was wicked. When he grabs all the spiders and he's jamming them in his mouth and he's like just out of his mind. Oh man, what a great read.
Yeah, I agree. Some of them are definitely doable. I remember the first time I read a digital comic and it was life-changing. I can't remember what it was, but it was probably like a free book. But then you have the times where, you have these big giant spreads and you can't appreciate that in a digital
format. You're trying to zoom out, you're trying to zoom in, you're trying to zoom out. You can't get where the narrative is supposed to be. It doesn't flow as well. Yeah.
But that's the one thing you said, the narrative. That's the one good thing about digital is where to read next, because some
it pushes
writers,
you into the.
You have no idea. Like it'll go. Some of them go left to right from both pages, or they'll do the one page and it'll go left, right, and down. So
but on a big splash page, when they're giving you the narrative up in the corner, you don't get to see the whole page to what he's saying. So you don't get the view to the little box in the corner, because then they zoom to the next box and I'm using my hands and nobody can see me, which is silly. So anyway, that's the end of the digital thing. I'm not as big a fan of it. And I hope that's not just the dead end future. I hope that I get to.
No, people still love paper.
Yeah, it'll never go away, I think.
Even though, let's talk about paper. Marvel's paper is the worst.
Dude.
It's the worst. The covers are am I going to rant right now? People are like, who is this guy?
Justin and I talked about this recently.
Covers are garbage.
Dude, they're horrible.
And I have found myself in DC always getting the cardstock cover, paying $1. You know why? Because it's really freaking nice. Most of the time, it's better artwork anyway. if I ever did decide to grade the son of a bitch, it's going to come back at a higher grade, and it just feels better. And then I get like the last issue of Venom. Did you guys see that last issue of Venom? The wrinkles, I posted it on Instagram. I was like, look at this cover, man. It is wavy, brand spanking new. What is up with Marvel's paper?
Marvel has what is it? They had the bleeding color, and they have color breaks on their backs constantly.
Yeah,
and it's a brand new book, like out of the printer.
Yeah, you're right. The extra $2 for the DC cardstock, it's worth it for me. I mean, it's too good. Like it
is.
I can't.
And now the indies are coming after them. I don't know. Have you guys gotten any of the Bad Idea stuff?
No.
Tankers was awesome, dude. The paper quality, the cover, it was really, really good.
The cover
I know that I had to buy the first 3 issues of both of their titles to get issue in advance.
Yeah.
Like I had to pay in advance at the register right there. And I ain't going to see these other books for who knows when they're coming in. That's what you had to do. You get them. And, but the quality of these things was fantastic.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So, real quick to kind of finish out the investment topic, let's kind of end here.
Yeah.
I had a thought here. So you told us right now your investment play right now is basically Venom, Let There Be Carnage. You're kind of playing off that movie and that realm and dabbling with the 300s
that Miles and Gwen and then some other stuff that I just picked up, like stuff. It's funny when you start telling people you're investing in books, people were like showing me books all the time. And I bought it was like Fantastic Four 52 first appearance of Black Panther. Someone put that in a chat for $800 and it was a 4.5. And I was like, I bought it in like 3 seconds. Like, yes, because there was an opportunity. And now that book's $1,300.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, it wasn't just Venom, but that was the initial one. I was collecting ASM 300s, ASM 361s, and then Ultimate Fallout 4s and Spider-Gwens. That was going to be the foundation.
So what would your advice be? This is my question for everyone here on the panel. What's your advice? What would you say is your next play? What would you tell the listener? Like, this is where I think you should put your money investing wise right now.
I'm looking at second print Ultimate Fallout 4, where he first reveals his face. And I'm looking at first print Ultimate Fallout 4 in 9.4 because it moves. It's got room to grow. You can still pick them up relatively cheap. I think, when it finally breaks, that book's going to be $1,000 and you're going to be like, that was a nice buy because you could afford it. And then I like looking at what's coming out with Disney and just being smart, man. I bought Savage She-Hulk. Come on, that's coming out. I bought Eternals. That's coming out. I mean, if you could do it. Buy them now and just kind of sit on them and wait till that window to sell. I mean, I bought my Savage She-Hulk 9.6 from Otto.
Oh yeah,
in the last auction because that show's coming, man.
Yeah, it'll jump. What about you, Justin?
Well, we're not going to really get too much into, rumor mill, but of course, Chloe Bennett was rumored to be the Darth Vader 3 Dr. Aphra. So, that's my book right now.
That's been your play for a while.
That's my play. So long-term play, cannot wait for that. And like JB said, is like, when do you sell? You sell on trailer and then you sell, just before the movie. So I got enough copies where I could sell on the trailer and then sell again on the show or movie or whenever she shows up. So,
okay. So you guys gave some good ones. Here's this one. I think maybe people know this. Obviously everyone knows Fantastic Four is coming, right? But those Silver Age early issues of Fantastic Four are still affordable. First appearances of things like Molecule Man, first appearance of Super Skrull. We know Super Skrull's showing up. Yeah. Skrulls are already going heavy right now, and they're not going to leave out the biggest Skrull of them all. I think a lot of those really key Fantastic Four early Silver Age appearances are money moves right now. Obviously, I'm not talking FF1. I'm not talking about first appearance of Doom. Black Panther is probably a little priced out. Galactus, Silver Surfer, that stuff, a little priced out. I'm talking about some of these other characters because we've seen Doom a million times, every iteration of Fantastic Four. So he's going to be a little bit down the line. I think Marvel's smart, Feige's smart. He's going to give us characters that we haven't seen yet, develop a different Fantastic Four feel than we've seen in the movies before. And I think characters like, I'm telling you, I got a lot betting on Super Skrull and Molecule Man right now. Like I'm snagging up those CGCs early.
I agree.
And like low copies, man.
I got a question for you guys. What do you think is the sweet spot grade-wise for Silver Age keys?
Anywhere.
Because they're so freaking expensive. I'm like, I'm finding that the moving spot seems to be between that 4.5, and 5. That's where you can still pick them up affordably, and they're still growing. As long as they're trending upwards, then pick them up where you can afford them because they're still trending upwards.
I think the 2.5 to the 5 range, you can get good prices, and you got to look at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, sometimes a 2.5 to a 5 can be completely different. Like a 2.5 with a great copy, it could be jacked up inside, but that's what you're displaying is the cover. Like I've seen some 5s that are just washed out covers, you know, compared to a 2.5, like a great white cover. And it's like, bro, I'm going with that. I'd rather go with that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's what I'm saying. That's my long-term play right now.
Great play. I like
those early Fantastic Four books.
I like it. Cool. So what do we got moving on next, Zach?
Yeah, so we're going to get into a couple news stuff. So we got a good articles coming up here. And the first one we're going to talk about is one that we talked about a little bit last week. So this kind of matches up with what we've continued to talk about here. And this is the Sony and Disney deal concerning Spider-Man. So Justin, this was kind of your article. Why don't you
Yeah, so a couple of weeks, actually like 2 weeks ago, we talked about this, how Sony would not be showing their movies on the Disney Plus, that they'd be staying on Netflix. So movies like Venom, the Morbius, and also the Spider-Man movies we're all going to be sticking on Netflix. But more recently, that just was posted yesterday on the Nerdist, Sony and Disney create the streaming pack for Spider-Man titles. So just 2 years ago, Disney and Sony were steamingly out in the arts of Spider-Man. Well, things change so fast in the Hollywood realm. So going forward, starting in all theatrical releases from 2022 to 2026 will move to Disney Plus after their runs on Netflix, which recently announced a large deal with Sony for their streaming rights for those films. So first, it's a big thing because, of course, like we said, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and they were not going to be put on Disney Plus. But not only are these movies going to be putting on, but there's also a ton of other movies that they've been talking about as far as the Sony umbrella of films, which, we're not going to really get too much into, but there's a lot of that family friendly stuff. But, as an update for this, I'm excited for this. So let's get our guest on. JB, what do you think about this deal?
Well, I think it's huge, man, because when you first heard that Disney wasn't going to get any of this, that it was only going to Netflix, you're like, ooh, that's a big blow, But you know what that is? It's called leverage.
Yeah.
And that's all the Sony has at this point is their leverage on this one character. That's the only thing they got left, and they need to leverage the hell out of it. And I think it's brilliant. What I didn't hear disclosed was how long is Netflix get it first before it ends up being released to Disney Plus. And then you mentioned that all these other properties. What is the name of the new section? Because I think it is mentioned in that article.
Marvel Legacy.
Marvel Legacy. So if you're in your Disney Plus streaming, there's going to be, it's either there now or there is going to be a new section called Marvel Legacy, which is going to contain these Sony properties. I'm excited for it. I'm 100% in this household. I've got 2 daughters. I've been a Disney house for a long time. I bought Disney stock. That's one of those stocks. I'll tell you what. And I think Disney Plus and HBO Max are both doing really good things right now. All of the streaming services have 1 or 2 shows. Dude, if you're not watching the cartoon on Amazon, Invincibles.
Oh man.
Yep.
We talked about that last week. Yeah. It's crazy.
And one of the shows that nobody's even mentioned on HBO Plus, The Nevers. Oh my God.
Yep.
That might be the best show going right now, and nobody's talking about it.
Yep.
I'm waiting for a couple episodes before I get into it.
I put it in the Lords of the Longbox chat. I said, has anybody watched The Nevers? It's like, 18th century X-Men women.
It is. It's exactly, 18th century X-Men. There you go.
So with this Sony Disney thing, I know maybe the theme of this this episode is investment. You want to invest if you could invest in something tangible, invest in the fact that you never know what's going to happen between Sony and Disney.
Sure.
Whatever you've heard will change in a month with Sony and Disney. We've seen this like 10 times in terms of Spider-Man. Like Tom Holland's gone. Sony's not going to give him up. Okay, he's back. Now this stuff keeps changing. So this is just the ever evolving drama of Sony and Disney.
And I don't think they disclosed any dollar figures, have they?
No.
I don't think they ever will.
What do you think this type of deal is worth?
Pennies, peanuts to Disney.
It's just gotta be. It's gotta be huge numbers. It's gotta be huge numbers.
Some Spider-Man rumors that I also read one of the articles. Of course, there's been this No Way Home. There's tons of rumors about Tobey Maguire, Andrew Holland showing up, Garfield, and Andrew Garfield showing up. And one of the ones I read that I thought was really interesting was a rumor that possibly it could be all three Spider-Mans versus a Sinister Six. So we know Alfred Molina just firmly admitted he's going to be in this movie. So that's a big play right there. I don't know, man. I've never been a big Spidey fan, but this could be cool. I've liked these Spider-Man movies, and I'd love to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show back up.
But even those movies are even going to come out in the Marvel Legacy.
In the Legacy,
so
awesome.
The three Tobey Maguires, the two Andrew Garfields are also coming into this Marvel Legacy scene, which is really good because some people that don't really know that they're on Netflix, or I don't even know. I think Into the Spider-Verse is really the only one that's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe one other one. Maybe Spider-Man like 3, but you put them all on one property. People go to this section, they can watch it. They know where to find all that Spider-Man stuff. Because if you go on Spider-Man now, you have the animated series, you have the original 70s, but now you're going to get all the movies. So that's the place to be, is on Disney Plus.
That's going to be the place to be.
Yeah. Okay. So next article we've got is also TV comic kind of crossover news here. It's based around one actress, Emilia Clarke. Everyone knows her as Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. And we've had a lot of information and a lot of news dropping about her recently, both in terms of comic books and her joining the MCU. So, JB, you want to read this article?
Yes, I did. This is fantastic. Okay. Everybody knows about what's going on with Berserker, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how huge that is for the actor himself to basically commit himself to a property at the comic book level, knowing that it's going to next levels. And this is going to happen again right here. It's now. When Image goes and posts something like this, they basically recruited one of the biggest names out there to break this news. And here, let me read it to you. So Game of Thrones star Emilia Clarke is the latest celebrity to have her first comic book series fast-tracked at a major comic book publisher, joining the likes of Keanu Reeves and J.J. Abrams. So she's got a book called Mom, Mother of Madness. Mother of Madness. It's a new series from Image Comics, and Mothers of Madness stars a woman named Maya, who's a scientist, superhero, mom. And this is going to be co-written by Marguerite Bennett and Leila Lee, with art by Leila Lees. Now, dude, Emilia Clarke, she is a smart woman. We're always calling mothers superheroes, and I'm like, what if they were? What if they legitimately were superheroes? That's what Emilia Clarke said in an exclusive interview with Entertainment Weekly, arranged by Image Comics. Entertainment Weekly breaking this? I mean, this is real. This isn't a joke anymore, right? So Maya has had a very hard life, and she finds herself in places that make her unique, and she just absolutely hates everything about herself until she finds out she's got powers. And that's when things get interesting. I'm a sucker for any of this stuff. But when you get a person to the level of Emilia Clarke puts her name on this from the very beginning at comic book level, knowing that this is going to be optioned into, come on guys, this is going to be optioned into movies, whatever it is. I almost feel it's kind of like unfair,
it's cheating a little bit,
because now I think this is going to happen more often, gentlemen. Don't you think that the next major star that says, how can I maximize my revenue in my next project? Let me take my idea, whatever that idea is, and let them blossom it out so we can control it from the very beginning through publication, through everything. This is
Yeah.
going to be huge.
I think
And-
you're going to have companies like Image and Boom Studios reaching out. They're going to be the ones that start this. It's not going to be actor A, B, or C coming to them and being like, hey, I want to start a comic book. I think what you're
Okay.
going to see is these companies reaching out that can't compete with the MCU, that, you know, can't compete with DCEU. And they'll be in like, hey, big time actor. I can't even think of one off the top of my head right now that's not in the comic book movies anymore. But hey, why don't you come to us? We'll develop a comic for you. When it goes to screen, you automatically are in that role. And I think that might be the window for these companies.
Here's a couple more details from this press release. So in Mom, Mother of Madness, the man begins with Maya, who's the under the weather scientist by day and over the top superhero by night and badass single mom 24/7. It says Deadpool action collides with Fleabag comedy when Maya activates her freakish superpowers to take on a secret sect of human traffickers. And each installment of the series is going to be an extra length issue filled to the brim with comedy and chaos. Mom, Mothers of Madness, will showcase a cover by Joe Radcliffe, who's a renowned artist and has had his work featured on a number of globally recognized brands and magazines, including the likes of Vogue, UK, and Juxtapose. But cover B, my friends, for the first issue will be provided by Eisner Award-winning Jen Bartel, who's on fire right now, whose clients have included such global brands as Netflix, Mondo, Adidas, Lucasfilms, and more. I love all the Jen Bartel covers coming out right now.
They're stacking the deck
B
with this book.
is going to be Jen Bartel. And there's even diamond codes for these available. This is going to actually hit the shelves on July 21st, Wednesday, July 21st. Action, comedy, human trafficking. Mother of Madness supposedly has it all. You know, I don't know.
You can definitely. Right? So, I mean, we have Berserker, Keanu Reeves doing that. He's already He's already says he's going to be Berserker when this comes out. Emilia Clarke, you can absolutely see her playing this character. And let's kind of go back in the writer and artist. So Marjorie Burnett, she's a great writer. She did some stuff for Aftershock. She created the A-Force and Marvel, that first series. She did the New 52 Batwoman series. Yeah. She dabbled in some of Batgirl as well. But my favorite that she did for Aftershock was Animosity. So she's paid her dues. She has she's got a good rapport of what she's written. So I think with her writing this and a little bit of throwing Emilia Clarke in there, we're definitely going to see this book highly printed. And everybody who's out there listening, you have a lot of time to pre-order this now before it comes out in July.
A lot of time. As a matter of fact, here, I'll give you one better. The Bartel cover is going to have a diamond code, MAR 218051. MAR 218051. There's no reason why you shouldn't get that one, fellas.
Yeah, it's really good.
And, this isn't even like a rumor thing either. She's like, what was it? I think I saw on Instagram the video of her like announcing this as well. So, I mean, it's like, this is super legit, It's going to be awesome, man. I'm pretty
sure
excited.
The print run is going to be, who knows? It could, if it's less than Berserker, that's better for people who are trying to invest in this book, because when it does become a show or a movie series, it'll be better than Berserker, or it could blow Berserker out of the water. First printings I heard is like 600,000 for Berserker #1.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, you don't think a star like an Emilia Clarke or a Keanu Reeves even gets involved in a comic book level stuff if they didn't think it was going to next level property? Right? Honestly, I mean, she's like, oh yeah, let's make a comic book. No, she's like, I want to be in the movie, but I want to own the rights to the character from the get. So now let's play. And that's what they're doing. It's genius.
The mother of dragon becoming the mother of madness.
Nice.
We've seen this before, though. We've seen, some other people dabble, and I would say more on the Marvel side. Remember when, was it Batista? Didn't he write something for Marvel?
Who recently did was Taboo from Black Eyed Peas. Recently wrote the Werewolf by Night title.
I think Drax did. He did Drax. He actually wrote Drax,
like a little mini series or something.
Yeah, somebody wrote. I can't remember. It was an annual for one of the character. I can't recall which one, but I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, I mean they're investing. I mean, let's be honest. Dave Bautista is never going to go down as
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
He wrote it because he was going back and forth because of seeing Dave Bautista on Guardians of the Galaxy. and being a former wrestler, and CM Punk was a wrestler at the time, he wrote the annual for Drax when it came out back in like a couple of years ago.
Oh,
so
nice.
this is something that, like you said, writers and even artists, we have Starboy. He had a comic, but now we're getting this huge thing where these A-list actor and actresses are going to be into our realm. Oh man, us nerds are loving it, right?
So here's the fun part. So we talked about Emilia Clarke in Image with Mother of Madness, Mom, coming out in July. We also have Emilia Clarke news of her joining the MCU as a character in the Secret Invasion show on Disney Plus. We don't know who it is. And when I say it's fun, this is the fun time when we start specking. Who do we think Emilia Clarke? I mean, like we just said, A-list actress joining the MCU, Disney Plus, kind of pigeonholed a little bit, though, in just the Secret Invasion storyline. So I'm not sure what the legs will be, but what do you guys think? Who do you think she'll be?
I have no idea. I'm going to read up on that one, grab the trade on that one and check out that storyline again, because I think there's only a couple of female Skrull characters at all. So, I mean, it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, we could either be, you could either have a Skrull character or, kind of. So Secret Invasion, I've read it. Zach, you've read it, of course. JB, have you ever? You've never read the Secret. So a main character that kind of plays into the Secret Invasion storyline is Spider-Woman. I don't think, I cannot see her being Jessica Drew and then not wanting to come out of that and build on her in a movie, because then that's a Sony thing. So that's where I'm afraid I don't think it's going to be Spider-Woman, even though she plays a huge role in that storyline. There's speculation that she may be Rogue because of she had the white hair in Game of Thrones, but and bringing in a mutant, I don't know. I mean, Zach, where are you on this? I mean,
Okay, so here's my thought process. I try to think of it as like a get out of, like, if you're really trying to spec on it. Now, Emilia Clarke hasn't really done a ton since Game of Thrones, right? And Secret Invasion is going to probably be a limited series. It's not going to be an ongoing thing. So like you said, Justin, Spider-Woman is not a character who's just, I don't think, just going to show up and then disappear. Now, so it definitely could be her. I also could see her being a character that's just around for this arc, the Secret Invasion story arc, and then moves on to something else. And I think a good character that we know that we spec'd on, excuse me, is Varanki, the Skrull Queen. She's a villain. It's already kind of up the alley of Emilia Clarke. We've seen her play that badass royalty woman, hard. That could be who she plays. I mean,
what's the first appearance? I'm writing it down right now.
You got New Avengers #1 for her as when she's as Spider-Woman, but then a lot of people play off of the New Avengers 40 for her. Is like her actual appearance as herself.
As herself, New Avengers 40.
And that's what the first series of New Avengers, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was before Secret Invasion. So,
and that's the Brian Michael Bendis stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of first appearances in Bendis's run.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of my play. My play is
a good play.
And I don't even know if I pronounced that right. Varanki. I mean, who knows? Who speaks Skrullian? I don't know. So don't eat me alive on that, listeners. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. I was gonna say Justin, but Jessica Drew, like. So you really think Sony would own the rights to Spider-Woman just because?
Why do you think that?
Yeah,
just
I'm not sure on that.
Spider in the name. I
don't think
so.
They have all the stuff. They have Silk. They have Madam Web. They have Spider-Gwen, Miles. It's everything that's Spider. Yeah, it's the Spider family. It's like if it was like the flip side, if Disney owned everything in the DC realm and Sony owned Batman. So you would never see like Nightwing, you would never see Batwoman, you would never see like Red Hood or Robin in a Disney movie or Disney show. It would all be produced by Sony. So,
but she's definitely like the one Spider character who has the least interaction with the Spider family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the most part. But then there's other Spider women. It doesn't have to be Jessica Drew. It could be Jessica Carpenter.
Yeah. Julia Carpenter.
Carpenter.
And she's more affiliated with like Spidey and Peter Parker than Jessica Drew is.
Yeah. Well, because the only reason why I say also Jessica Drew is because she's really affiliated more with S.H.I.E.L.D. and, even when her first appearances, she fights Nick Fury. So
Right.
that's where I could see it being her. Like I want it to be her for that would be awesome.
Wait a minute, but if the storyline you're telling me in this new Avengers storyline starts with her impersonating,
Right.
and then that is just set up, guy. It's too perfect for it not to be that. It's too perfect for it not to be that.
To be honest, she could be both characters. I mean, think about it. If she's impersonating Jessica Drew, it's gonna be Emilia Clarke's face. So, and then as a Skrull, you make up that away. Now she's a Skrull. So she can play both, man. She's dual role, and then long-term come back and play Jessica Drew down the line.
That's crazy.
So we could have a double first appearance here.
Double first appearance.
Yeah. That's a fun one, man. I think you're going to see these books start just climbing in price right now.
Yeah, when they made that announcement.
Time right now, isn't it, guys? With so many properties coming out, with so much content coming out, all this comic book related content this is such a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know JB, you have to go and head on over to your other show.
Yes,
you're on tonight.
Lord
So
tonight,
again,
if you
thank
guys
you so much,
watching us, you got to make sure you come on over and check out the Shakers list, because it's crazy the books that are on this list, man. It's just nuts. It is not the regular list.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So again, JB from Discoverybay Comics, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're always welcome on the show to come and chat with us anytime.
Thank you.
Make sure you follow JB on Instagram. He's posting tons of stuff, and like I said, he's got some nice investing videos right now on his channel. So you guys should definitely head over there across the world and see what he's buying and what you should be specking on for a long-term hold instead of these stocks that are out there in cryptocurrency.
Right.
So JB, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
Don't forget, we had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until those deadbeats on Lords of the Long Box, we said, what's up?
All right. See you guys later.
Take care, man. So that was a great interview from someone in the community, JB, Discoverybay Comics. Thank him so much. Make sure you guys follow him. We'll have his links in this video as well as on iTunes and Spotify. So go check out JB. Thanks a lot. But let's move on to some more stuff. We did have a trailer this week, right?
Oh, man. And actually, just thinking about this trailer, I got another topic we'll follow with this next one, too, which I know we kind of already talked about. But so big trailer drop today. And the funny thing or not today, earlier this week, the funny thing is, before when we were talking about this video, I told Justin, I was like, man, I gotta listen to the trailer again because I don't want to butcher the name. And what we came out with, Shang Chi, right?
Shang Chi.
Okay. I don't want to mess it up. It's so hard. You read these for years and years, and it's like what you think it is. Of course, we've never seen Shang Chi anywhere on any kind of I guess maybe an animated possibly, but I don't remember how it was pronounced. So I really wanted to make sure I got that right. But man, what'd you think? The Shang Chi trailer?
So here is my initial reaction. I absolutely love the trailer. I think I'm a big martial arts type of fan. I was big into anime, so I like all those different samurai animes and the old school Samurai 7, and just the fighting is badass. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and anything that Jet Li used to do. So I absolutely love the trailer. I think it was professionally done, as in a way that it was very mature. It didn't involve anything in the MCU. But then, of course, the last 5 seconds bothered me with the little joke that they had to throw in there, which was just, the little laugh part. But it was such a perfect trailer. It was 99.9% perfect for me. And I've never read a book for Shang-Chi. And then they throw that little stupid quip in at the end. And I'm just like, no.
Well, Marvel's got to keep it light. They always do, man. But I'm with you too. And I think we both kind of agree. We've talked about that in terms of the Zack Snyder Justice League. We like things a little darker. And but Marvel has the tried and true formula for their movies, which is, reality kind of based comic book movie with a little bit of humor in there. Don't take itself super seriously. The addition of an actress like Awkwafina obviously allows a little bit more comedy. I wasn't crazy about it either, but I'm really pumped for this movie. And I think I didn't think about it until you just mentioned it. I didn't even realize that there was no MCU references in the trailer, which I think is important. It's very important that you start a new character off on his own. Like, you don't have to. I think it's been one of the biggest complaints, and I agree. This is one of my biggest complaints about the Spider-Man movie is he was always leaning on Tony Stark. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, damn, you're really doing this guy a disservice here. Like, he can't operate without Iron Man and Tony Stark. So I think it's important for a character like Shang Chi, who hasn't really been introduced to people. He's pretty much going to be a new character to, you know, the non-readers, the people who really just kind of follow the movies, and let him stand on his own, man. You know, he's in a different world. He's over here. He's like, there's all the stuff going on. I think it's going to be great, man. It really, the kung fu, the fighting looks awesome. It looks,
and they did say it was a teaser trailer, even though a teaser trailer was,
it was a long teaser trailer,
2.5, 3 minutes. It's not really a teaser trailer. Teaser trailers are like a minute, maybe 35 seconds, and then eventually get a full trailer. How can you not call that a full trailer?
Right.
But I definitely think they'll have the whole MI6 thing in there with him. Of course, during the movie, they'll talk about probably the blip, or actually, we don't even know. We don't know where this timeline is at all.
Really don't.
But I'm sure they'll throw something in there with Marvel. But I love that the trailer, you knew nothing. Like, you could have just watched this trailer and it would just been, hey, it looks like a great movie. And I think that's what's great for me. I've never read his stuff. And this kind of goes back to a lot of people out there who've never read, maybe even like when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, Suicide Squad movie. Who else did you have that are just like single-led characters in the MCU?
I mean, well, the Ant-Man version, it wasn't obviously your original Ant-Man, so
same thing.
But, yeah, you know, I wonder, because I don't know anyone, like none of the guys in our realm, or the guys that I kind of like pal around with in the comic book community, I'm not aware of anyone who's like a massive Shang-Chi fan. So I wonder if, because I've read a lot of articles that they have a lot of opportunities to play with his backstory. Like, they aren't going to, from what I've read, it's not going to be the classic Shang-Chi backstory. Obviously, we're doing a little change with his father kind of being the Mandarin, which is a big difference from the comic books. And I'd love to talk to someone. You know, if anyone's listening and you're a big Shang-Chi fan, drop us a line. Let me know what you think. Send us a voice memo on this topic alone. I'd like to know, will you be upset if they change the backstory and the origin story of your favorite character, Shang-Chi? You know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting to see how people feel about that.
I think, plus you have to realize that they're modernizing him. So he's not going to be in his like karate Komodo outfit, you know, from when he first appeared years and years ago. And Marvel superheroes, is that what's the first appearance? Marvel.
Yeah.
I can't think of. If Tim's listening, he's going to kill us out there.
Right, yeah.
But that's what it is. They're modernizing him to the MCU and the character itself. So like you said, they don't have to do the history of when he first appeared. They've changed it over the years, so they can retcon him to now. Like the comic could, you know, they just did a recent run on Shang-Chi. I just saw that they are doing a new #1 coming out this summer. So even that like #1 could be more towards the character that's in the movie instead of you know, old school comics.
It's Master of Kung Fu, special revelation. You know, and this is a tricky character. I mean, you know, look, we never shy away from these topics on the podcast. They have to update this character. There are some dicey stereotypes, obviously, in the original origin of Shang-Chi. So they are avoiding those, as they should. You know what I mean? This character needs to be upgraded. We don't need any old stereotypes like muddying this up. So, and I think they were really smart in the way, like a lot of the articles I've read as well said they handled that really well. In terms of the series you're talking about, it was like a 5-issue miniseries, right?
Yeah.
And you know what it reminded me a lot of was it very much played along the roles of the Iron Fist, where he had like do you remember the Iron Fist run where the different cities and the deadly warriors, or the fighters from the deadly cities? This Master Kung Fu, or the Shang-Chi limited series, was about kind of like 5 different branches. So he's like the master of the hand. There's like the sword, the dagger, the staff, the hammer, something like that. I might have messed some of those up. And each one is like a half brother or sister of his, like where his father has like been manipulating these, pulling the strings and whatnot. So it was cool. And you're right. I think it's setting up this new series, which we kind of wanted to run into and talk about as well. And you found this article.
Yeah, this one's actually really interesting. This one's over at gamesradar.com or Newsarama. So coming up a couple months, Shang-Chi discovers he has a mutant sister and Wolverine has a problem with that. So in July of this year, Shang-Chi #3, so we'll figure we'll get #1 in May, June, July, is being introduced to an unannounced sister. And she's not only a mutant, but Newsarama has confirmed that she'll be a villain. And he'll be running into Wolverine, who's of course one of the most badass mutants out there.
Yeah. This will be cool. And like I said, in this Shang-Chi 1-5 miniseries, we kind of get introduced to the fact that he does have a lot of like siblings, step siblings, or half siblings out there. So I think we're going to see more of this. Obviously, we know Marvel's going to be ramping up the Shang-Chi issues leading up to the movie, as they should. And it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see him and Wolverine interact. They've interacted before, where Wolverine's kind of like met with him to help control, his berserker rage and all that.
And here's another thing. There it is right there. Like you just said, back in 2009, this is also part of the article. In Wolverine's First Class #9, we see a flashback between Wolverine when he first meets Shang-Chi. So being overseas, and you've had this big, I guess, hard on, as you say, because of Madripoor showing up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Patch could be sitting at the bar. We possibly could see a mutant showing up in this movie just like a, oh my God, he's there, because we don't know where this is going to land in timelines, and who's to say that at this time Wolverine's not overseas.
Yeah. You know what? I've been saying this for years. Everyone's been asking, well, how are the X-Men going to get into the Marvel universe? Where are the mutants going to come from? And I've really been saying my big belief and my spec has been that you were going to see mutants sprinkled in individually before you get to any kind of like an X-Men movie. Like you'll see mutants show up in these different movies, and then we'll get to something X-Men wise. So, great opportunity. Shang-Chi, you can also, opportunities for Sunfire to show up as well over in that realm. So it's great.
Building that market overseas. It's building the Asian market for these characters that we need, and it's definitely building for a long term, because then we need another group. We have the Avengers, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, but there's no one overseas. So hey, new Agents of Atlas.
Yep,
everybody's talking about all these characters. It's a way to introduce them, and we've even been talking possibly Jimmy Woo may show up in this movie. So.
Yeah, bring him over. I don't know how he'd end up from his time in the FBI WandaVision over dealing with Shang-Chi, but hey, he was great. Bring him in.
Yeah, so. He was the originator of the original Agents of Atlas, and he's in it now. So who's to say that he wouldn't show up maybe at the end or an end credit scene? And it's a possibility. So
definitely check out that title. Pick up, if you can, try to go to your shop and pick up the 1-5 Shang-Chi limited series that's going to move directly into this new ongoing, which I'm definitely going to be picking up. I enjoyed the 1-5, so I'll be checking this out. So.
Well, the #3 may be hard, right? Because of that first appearance. Or no, that was Taskmaster. I'm sorry. Oh my God. I was thinking.
You're talking about the
But
there are some first appearances though,
and we really haven't even talked about the villains. I mean, we know the Legend of the Ten Rings is the Mandarin, so there's a lot to play off the Mandarin. Other villains that can be brought into this series. So
many opportunities.
It's going to be a great movie. I really think it's going to be like the first time you saw Guardians of the Galaxy. You really knew nothing about these characters.
You had no expectation, really.
Exactly. I'm just going to go in because, like I said, I've never read any of these books. I'm going in there completely free when this movie comes out in fourth quarter, and I can't wait for it. I thought the trailer was just amazing. So we definitely have a long time before it comes out, but we have more trailers to come.
Yeah, definitely, dude. So real quick before we get into what are we currently reading, I know we're kind of pushing it on time, but we got Mortal Kombat coming out this week. I feel like we got to talk about it. By the time this drops, neither one of us will have seen it. Neither one of us have watched that first 7-minute opening scene either, right?
Yeah, I refuse to watch that, and I refuse to watch the Melina versus Sonya Blade.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I don't want to watch that either.
It's like a 4-minute another video, and I refuse to watch it.
Man, why are they released? They must have some confidence in this movie if they're like, we'll just throw you some bones here and show you these scenes. It looks amazing. I'm pretty pumped about this movie.
Same here. I cannot wait. It's going to be, you said it pre-show that you want to go see it in theaters. I hope to go see it in theaters the first time, but if I don't, I'll watch it surround sound on my 65-inch down here in my house. But I really want to see it in the big screen. I remember watching the original 2 in the theaters. I still think they hold. To me, they still hold up. They were.
I still love them. I still love them.
They were the first great video game movie. I don't care
100%.
what anybody says. They were exactly what you remember. Like you playing the video game, and then these characters in live action. You're like, holy shit! I actually get a chance to see the characters that I play as fighting and kicking ass.
And if you don't get amped up hearing that original Mortal Kombat theme song, there is something broken inside you. Like you need to go see someone. You have issues. And if I'm talking about this right now and in your head, someone's not screaming Mortal Kombat at the top of their lungs, there's also something wrong with you. It's so iconic, dude. It's so iconic.
Oh, there's so many memes I love making, from the first movie to, oh God, all the different sayings like toasty and banality. There's so much good stuff. So hopefully everyone out there gets a chance to watch it this weekend, and if not, or at some point, but we'll definitely do a review on it, whether it's next week or the week after that. So give everybody a chance to see it. Yeah, we never want to, ruin things for you. So speaking of ruining things, let's get into what are we currently reading. Yeah.
So, I think we got some interesting ones today. You mentioned that you have something a little older, and I actually have 2 new books. So you want to start?
Yeah. So last weekend after our auction, I went to a shop because, of course, I just need to spend some money and buy some things. So I went to this one shop, and it's a 10-issue mini series or limited series, and I was able to pick up the first 5 issues for $5. Okay. And the name of the series is called The Marked. And it was from Image Comics back in 2019. So, of course, this is right off of Image Comics website. The Marked may look like cool young influencers, but beneath the designer's clothes, their bodies are tattooed with the mythical glyphs of an ancient order that secretly protects the world against evil forces. With no new occult threats, the Marked use their tattooed powers solely for the pursuit of pleasure until a young woman called Leza creates a dangerous new form of hybrid sorcery. The party is over for the Marked. You'll believe in magic, terrifying, soul-destroying magic. Now, again, like I said, it is a 10-issue series. I only got the first 5 issues, so I need to go find the rest of them. But let's talk about the writer. You have Brian Halberlin, who he's one of the best old 90s. He co-created Witchblade. He's done tons of stuff in between that. Of course, he's done stuff like Hellcop and Shifter and Stone. There's so many things that he's a co-creator of, but now he's done this series. Now, I could see this series playing out. I don't know why it didn't do as well.
Yeah, it got canceled, I think.
It was only 10 issues. But I really like this series. This is the first time that I'm reading it. I had the #1 back in 2019 when it first came out, and I just probably never read it because it was like, it's a #1. I'll pick it up. But these first 5 issues are really awesome to read. The fact that these characters, in this day and age, people have tattoos, sleeve tattoos, and they're using these powers for like different things. I'm not going to get too much into this series because you can definitely just go out and buy the trade or if they have the hardcover. But, people are using like their tattoos to like change the lights, like from red to green. Somebody has like a key, but then you have like they tell you the history of the Marked and how they bring it back to like old, medieval times and them fighting with like monsters. And it's such a dope concept that I cannot believe it did not go longer, or at least even now, like make a prequel of the Marked.
Yeah, I was collecting them when they first came out. I think I stopped at issue 5. I enjoyed it for a couple issues. I don't know why. I will admit that after a while, I kind of was like, nah, I don't know. I think it followed that like the main character, and then I didn't feel like it fleshed. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. I don't feel like it fleshed out the like supporting characters very well. And it just kind of focused on the one, and I wasn't really interested in her. But it was a cool concept. I didn't feel like they explored it well enough. Like I loved the idea of, like you said, you could have these tattoos that had certain powers, and
it's almost like Strange Academy now, because they go to the school that even like these older people that they live there, and they kind of that this occultist world, basically they live under almost like the Sanctum Sanctorum basically, in a way. But that's what it is. Like they all live there. There's this mythological the Mark, That's how they kind of get them. But I think the characters are, and even the art is done very well. And I think it's something that you guys out there, guys and girls, go out there and pick this up. I definitely think for 10 issues, you can't go wrong. I'm sure you can get the complete set probably on eBay for less than cover price. You know, figure the books were $2.99. You're looking at like $30 for a complete set if people are charging you that. But I'm sure it could be cheaper than that, or you go out and just buy the trade. But I really, like I said, I really enjoyed how they showed off the prequel of like how they talk about the history of the Marked. And they have like the samurai era. They even talk about like pirates. So, and you've seen this. You've seen this in history. You know, pirates have tattoos. Like, what if those tattoos actually help them fight monsters or help them do things? And even I think they even talk about, I remember in like the first issue when they're going over, they talk about like Van Helsing in a way. Like there's a character that kind of looks like a Van Helsing, and like, so they're hunting like werewolves and Dracula. Like, why can't tattoos do that? But no one's explored this. And it's only 2 years old that the series is.
Right.
I could see this being a movie or a show at some point without a doubt.
Visually, it would have a lot of appeal as like a TV show for sure.
Yeah.
So
cool, that's my book. Like I said, I got to pick up the rest of the 5 issues so I can finish it and see what the storyline ends. But I'm excited to, you know, get out there and find those last 5 issues and read it. What about you, Zach? What do you got for this week?
So, okay, I got 2 books because, you know, I can never narrow it down to one. It's just a problem, man. It's a problem with me. And obviously you shouldn't be too surprised, but we have a first issue, first number 1 of an X-Men title. We have The Way of X. And we kind of talked about this a little bit. Way of X is kind of focusing on Nightcrawler trying to find more or less a religion or a code for mutant life on Krakoa. You know, the whole idea of them like dying and being resurrected has really changed things. Whereas there's even like this subculture of, for example, in this book, one character hasn't died yet. She's never died. And the other characters are like teasing her about it. Like, oh, just do it. Just die already. You know, you got to join the club type stuff. So it's really kind of like, it's changed things in the way, it's very interesting. This whole resurrection protocol things. It very much has affected the way people think about life in terms of like being the mutants. Cause there's really no thought about danger anymore. So this character takes a shotgun blast, like right to the face, you know,
kind of like Wolverine. Like I've seen Wolverine do that before, right?
Yeah. This character does not survive though. So, and then it also tackles the idea of like, you know, on Krakoa, there's mutants that lost their powers during the Scarlet Witch. And they go through this thing called the Crucible, where they call out like any mutant on the island and they fight them to the death. And so when they die, then they get resurrected and their powers come back. So it's kind of like this idea of like you show up and you have to fight to the death and show that you are strong. And it's thought provoking, man. Some of the themes that they come up with is like, what are they doing in this book? Are they creating a subculture of like where only the strong survive because it's stuff like that? It's very interesting. Anyway, check it out. Way of X number 1. But the other one I have is, like I said, I kind of told you I stole from you, was Stray Dogs issue 3. So Justin put me on to Stray Dogs, which in a nutshell is basically such a weird thing. I can't believe, honestly, I'm thinking about talking about this out loud and it seems so weird. So these dogs get collected by this guy who just basically, as the first issue shows up, this guy has like 12 dogs and you're like, yo, that's a lot of fucking dogs. So, but you find out he potentially is out there like serial killing their owners. And these dogs don't really have a memory that it can hold up. So they're kind of forgetting their owners and they're discovering this, you know, this mystery of this guy's like out there murdering their owners and then stealing them and taking them home. And this issue was, I don't know, it's disturbing. Like the way it ends. You said you haven't read it yet, right?
Yeah, I have it. I showed it to you before, but I have not read it. So
okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's disturbing and it's good though, man. Like I'm glad you told me about this title. It's a good one. You guys got to check this out. Straight.
It's only a mini series right now. It's only going to be 5 issues. The normal cover A's are typically like the photos of the dogs, but then they have the cover B's, which is horror movie posters.
Right.
So those have been very interesting. I think this one was Silence of the Lambs. I believe.
I haven't seen that cover.
Oh yeah, this one was definitely. I feel like it was Silence of the Lambs. You know, we talked about like the second one was Shutter Island, and then even like the first one they did like a Blair Witch.
Yeah,
there's a couple variants for it, but I'm pretty sure this one is it's Silence of the Lambs. and it's got the pug on the front. So
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And this is so.
oh no, I'm
this is
sorry, it's Annabelle.
Image Comics. Also,
Mhm.
you know, you guys got to check this out. It's pretty cool. It's different. It's
different, right?
It is different, but it's fun. It's kind of fun too. It's like, and who's the writer is Tony Fleeks. So I don't really know much about him, but I definitely, based on this stuff, will, you know, I'd look out for some titles here, right? It's kind of in the artwork. I'm looking at some of the characters. It's like All Dogs Go to Heaven is what it looks like. You know what I mean? You totally, you open this book and you think you're reading like it's going to be like this Disney book. It is not.
See, and this is why this goes to everyone out there listening is Zach didn't know anything about this title.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I talked about issue 1 and he went out and got this. So, back to the writer and artist. So Tony Flex did, he did My Little Pony. So you have that kind of, he's used to doing those animal type of characters. So that's where you get this. But, everybody's just been praising this. Brian Michael Bendis, Scott Snyder. It's a great little mini so far. And there's only 2 issues left. So once I read this 3rd issue, like you didn't spoil it, but 2 more issues, I'm definitely excited to see where they go. And I like some of the characters. Like there's the German Shepherd.
Rusty, I think is his name.
They're all cool little dogs. I'm not a huge dog guy, but it's such a fun story. So I'm glad you talked about it, and I'm glad you picked it up. It's a recommendation from me. So everybody out there, we're recommending books to try out. So if you pick up any of these books on our recommendation, post them on Instagram, tag us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Let us know that you kind of took our advice. They're right there. Zach took my advice after issue 1.
It was good. Maybe we're spoiled now because there's so many movies and television shows coming out, and so you're like, oh, cool, this is great. Maybe they'll option it for a movie. I don't know how they would do this, dude. This is not the. I don't know, man. I don't know who could watch
your dog. I don't know. You can't really do the dogs in real life. It would be like
it'd have to be animated for sure. But
yeah,
I don't know. You're gonna, dude. I don't know. You read this issue. You have. I'm excited to see what you say about this issue. But
it's in my hand. So right after I'm done editing this, I will absolutely read this.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. We ran a little long today, but it was fun. We had a good guest. JB is always great. We've known JB for years in the community. A great member of the community. Definitely check out his stuff. Discoverybay Comics on YouTube. He also, like you said, is on Lords of the Long Box every Thursday for the Movers and Shakers list. He's currently live right now as we're recording. So definitely check that out. And yeah, anything else?
No, that's it. Again, thanks so much, everybody, for the support. Of course, both Zach and I are probably going to be doing a bonus episode in between now and the release of Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
We've both read it or reread it. And, we're kind of going to do a little bit of a preview and kind of talk about the characters of, who's appearing, who we think, our favorite characters were, and just kind of give you a kind of little bit of a backstory before the Netflix series. If you don't want to read it, we're really not spoiling anything because the characters are there. So we don't know if it's going to kind of do the whole Mark Miller, however you want to say his name, storyline completely through, because it was like they did Jupiter's Legacy Volume 1, and they did Circle, and they came back and did Legacy Volume 2, and some characters that were introduced in Legacy Volume 2 were in the trailer. Right. So I don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah, this day and age, you don't know either. Like, I mean, if you read Umbrella Academy and then watched Umbrella Academy, they're 2 completely different things. So, yeah.
So that's it from me, man. Great episode. For episode 16 is in the books, as I always say. So thanks, everybody, for checking us out.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.